Hello and welcome to Cozy English Stories. Today we're exploring a simple yet powerful act, walking. Not just for exercise, but as a path to healing. Let's begin our story. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind that feels heavy and gray, even when the sun is trying to break through the clouds. My world had recently been turned upside down. A long-term relationship had ended, my job felt draining, and a general feeling of being lost had settled over me like a thick fog. I spent my days moving from my bed to the sofa and back again, the television providing a constant, meaningless hum in the background. My friends called, their voices full of concern, but I often let the calls go to voicemail. I didn't have the energy to explain the emptiness I felt inside. One afternoon, my closest friend, Sarah, didn't call. She just showed up at my door, holding a pair of worn-out walking shoes. "Put these on," she said, her tone gentle but firm. I tried to protest, listing all the reasons I couldn't possibly go outside. I was too tired, it was too bright, I didn't feel like it. She just smiled, handed me the shoes, and waited. Defeated by her quiet persistence, I slipped them on. They felt foreign on my feet, which had grown accustomed to the soft comfort of slippers. Our first walk was short. We didn't go far, just a few blocks around my neighborhood. I remember how every step felt like a monumental effort. My legs were heavy and my breath was shallow. The world outside felt too loud, too fast. The sounds of cars, the chatter of people, the barking of a dog, it all felt overwhelming. I kept my head down, my eyes fixed on the cracks in the pavement, just wanting it to be over. Sarah didn't push me to talk. She just walked beside me, a silent, comforting presence. When we got back to my apartment, I felt a flicker of something other than numbness. It was exhaustion, yes, but a physical exhaustion, not the soul-crushing emotional kind. That night, I slept for a few hours without waking up. The next day, Sarah was there again. This time, I put on the shoes with a little less resistance. We walked the same route. I noticed things I'd missed the day before. A small garden overflowing with bright red flowers. The intricate pattern of a spider's web on a fence, the way the sunlight filtered through the leaves of a large oak tree. My focus was still mostly on my feet, on the rhythm of my steps, but my world was slowly beginning to expand beyond the four walls of my apartment. This became our routine. Every day, a walk. We started exploring different paths. We found a small park a few streets away with a little pond in the center where ducks swam in lazy circles. I remember the first time I genuinely smiled on one of our walks. A small, fluffy dog, full of joyful energy, ran up to us and dropped a slobbery tennis ball at my feet. I bent down, threw the ball, and watched it chase after it with pure delight. For a moment, my own sadness lifted, replaced by the simple joy of the dog's game. As the days turned into weeks, the walks grew longer. I started to look forward to them. It was a dedicated time each day when I had to leave the house and engage with the world. This steady rhythm of walking became meditative. Left foot, right foot, breathe in, breathe out. It was a simple, repetitive motion that grounded me. When my mind started to spiral into negative thoughts about the past or anxious worries about the future, I would bring my focus back to my steps, to the feeling of the ground beneath my feet. One day, Sarah suggested we try a trail in the nearby woods. I was hesitant. It seemed like a big step up from our neighborhood strolls, but the idea of being surrounded by nature was appealing. The moment we stepped onto the dirt path, a sense of peace washed over me. The air was different here, cleaner, filled with the scent of pine and damp earth. The only sounds were the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the crunch of our footsteps. During that walk, I started to talk. The words just came out, tumbling over each other. I talked about my heartbreak, my career confusion, my feelings of failure. Sarah listened patiently, never interrupting, just offering a nod or a comforting hand on my shoulder. Walking side by side, not having to make direct eye contact, made it easier to be vulnerable. It felt like the forward motion of our bodies was helping to move the stuck emotions inside me. I realized that walking wasn't just a distraction. It was an active part of my healing. The physical activity released endorphins, those natural mood lifters. Being outside in the sunlight helped regulate my sleep patterns. The change of scenery provided new perspectives. Watching the seasons change on our walks, from the last stubborn leaves of autumn to the first green shoots of spring, reminded me that life is a cycle of endings and new beginnings. I started walking on my own too, sometimes with music, sometimes in silence, just letting my thoughts wander. I began to see my city not as a place of painful memories, but as a landscape of possibilities. Each street held a new discovery, a new cafe to try, a new park to explore. I felt my curiosity for life slowly returning. One evening, about 3 months after that first reluctant walk, I was walking alone as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I stopped at the top of a small hill overlooking the city. Looking down at the twinkling lights, I took a deep, full breath. The heavy weight in my chest was gone. It hadn't vanished overnight, but had been worn away, step by step, with each walk. I still had moments of sadness, of course. Healing isn't a straight line. But I now had a tool, a simple, powerful practice to turn to when the fog started to creep back in. A pair of shoes and an open door. Walking had taught me that even when you feel completely stuck, you can always put one foot in front of the other. It taught me that moving my body could help move my mind, and that the path to healing, though sometimes long and winding, is always worth taking. It all starts with a single step. Thank you for joining our story today. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Cozy English Stories for more content to help you relax and improve your English. See you next time.